home place. Belongings, all emergency exit routes. Left the building, the assembly point. Members and others. Speakers are reminded to use their microphones when speaking and turn off their mobile phones. So I've done that bit. Any declarations of interest? Done. Right, we've got, I expect a lot of us know Chris Thorpe. Welcome. Chris Thorpe is here as a member of the public. We're not stuck on time. So over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Andy. I wanted to just address you a little further following my address to you on the 23rd of June, where my fourth point then was about ensuring that certain volunteers have the protection and benefit of the Council's complaints procedures. I'd now like to make a few further points. The general case, I understand, is that volunteers are usually casual, but there are situations where they have specific roles and where in many ways they might be viewed as quasi-employees, though I know that is a difficult path to go down. However, it has been recognised that in certain circumstances, which can and do occur, where a group would be ill-equipped to deal with unforeseen or contentious matters that arise. Warwick Neal has commented that there is a difference between someone generally volunteering in the city to someone fulfilling a role for the council as a volunteer. This was acknowledged by the council around 2014 in the specific case of the allotments and the volunteer group commonly known as the Forum, comprising the elected site reps, who have a clearly specified role. This is intended to be dealt with via the council's induction course for newly elected site reps. If you can reference the document that is there, the site rep welcome and induction protocol, item 5 on the second page, where volunteers have the right to use the council's complaints procedure is something that's causing them concern. Particularly, any complaint should be fully investigated in accordance with the council's complaints procedure. Now, from this, it was quite clear that volunteers, the site reps, are able to benefit from the support and protection offered by the council's complaints policies and procedures. And this is of special importance on site rep cases within the volunteer forum group. So, firstly, I ask that this policy be confirmed and extended to any other volunteer groups that may exist or be formed in the future. And secondly, in respect to a number of complaints lodged by myself during the last year or so regarding the council volunteers in the site reps in the forum group, which ended with an effective final outcome from Nina Warrington saying that what occurs in the forum stays in the forum. It seems clear to me that she entirely overlooked this established policy, and thus I believe her findings must be regarded as unsafe. I would ask you, if she had been aware of this policy, would she have come to the same conclusions? And a considered response from the council would be very much appreciated. The only other option open to me would appear to be an appeal to the local government ombudsman, which I'm really reluctant to take. It's a thing that's really grossly trivial in its essence, but it's important in its meaning. I really don't want to go down that route. Without access to the council's complaints policy, how can anyone seek redress within their group, especially where the group leader, also being a volunteer, is involved, which is where I was faced with. Complain to the chairman, and the chairman's one of the people you're complaining about. It goes nowhere. Who else could assist and resolve contentious matters occurring within the group? I believe it is essential that volunteers with clearly specified roles have the right to use the council's complaint policy. Now, since preparing that, I've had an email from David Sutton, and I understand that in respect to allotments, at any rate, that Phil Gilmore is drafting something specific to address this particular issue, though I do feel that it really was addressed anyway. So turning to a closely related matter, in the recent allotments review, the site rep's role is currently stated as being crucial to the safe and efficient provision of allotment services, where the site rep is the primary contact for any council staff or other visitors to the site, and also the first line of contact for tenants. And it goes on saying duties include, da, da, da. My point here is that use of the word duties as opposed to role. The new site rep's role arises out of the review. And I would maintain that as elected representatives of the tenants on our sites, we cannot also be the council's representatives. Our responsibility must surely be to our electorate, as it is for the members here. And our electorate are the tenants on our site. Surely we cannot have duties to any other, including the council, for risk of a conflict of interests arising. Due to long-running council neglect in not carrying out effective induction courses during the past 2 years, there are some site reps who believe they are council representatives and they act for or on behalf of the council and with the council's authority. Surely that cannot be. May I recommend that the word duties be replaced with role, for if we do have duties to the council, then surely there is a de facto master-servant relationship arising with all of that entails, including full use of the council's existing complaints procedures. And finally, one other matter which I feel falls far short of the standards expected for the protection of personal data held by the council. This relates to the GDPR policies for site reps. Referring back to the induction course, I understand that less than half of the current site reps have been inducted. And so unaware of the site rep welcome induction protocol, which you have in front of you, and also many other policies and procedures, including the GDPR policy, which we're expected to sign up to and adhere to. Does this put at risk any of the site reps holding and using confidential personal contact details for all their tenants on their site, which have been provided to him or her by the council? I think that's quite a difficult question, but I think it needs addressing. That's really all I have to say. I hope it's clear, but if anybody has any questions and you allow it, I'd be happy to take them.
But you know that lodging statement don't make a response, but a response will be made. But I'll just share with colleagues that I spoke to the monitoring officer about this. There's certain things that are, some things that are under review anyway. I can safely say that your comments will be taken part of that review. There are other little bits, not trivialising them, but smaller bits which seem data protection that the monitoring officer may want separately out. So thank you for bringing those. We'll get a response, but it won't be delayed.
Okay, that's fine. Would you like a copy of my comments?
Yes, please.
If I may email it to you.
Oh yes.
Or I can leave that copy with you. It's slightly annotated, but it's pretty much what I said.
Email will be good, and then I can share it with
I'll email it to you. Okay, thank you.
We are on to the minutes. You've received the minutes of the meeting of date of at the moment. They were 23rd of June. Been through those. Can I sign those as being a true record? Thank you very much. Then we're on to item 5, Local Government and Social Care Ombudsman Annual Letter.
Yes, it's that time of year again where we receive the report from the local government. Look back. Sorry, it happens to be a municipal. The committee will recall that when we review these reports, recognise exempt. The reason I raise that is there are 2 upheld decisions. The summary of the report is to say the overall number of complaints, inquiries received by them. We have reduced down to 5 in this. So, in relation to the number of those, which I suppose the caveat around that must be that for a period of time, the local government service in that. So it is possible that there's a sort of a pipeline or a backlog issue. But what I would say, and again, forgive me, this is anecdotal. From our side, we're not aware. Two of those cases were upheld. They were both in relation to case related enforcement way that the on service standards given and where that's recorded. And there was a compensation of 100. And the second case I know previously in relation individual looking to acquire property, placing reliance on given by council informally, not as part of placing reliance on that, dealing with a property. Factually correct. That case was one where discussed with the Ombudsman did a very deep assessment and settling this. So those were the two matters. Because they were both planning matters, we could report to planning what we call state. To draw together what were the themes have been. We so I think it's an example, though, really, I suppose, of where there is a in this committee. I think finally what the report is noting, albeit we had a very low number of cases, our responsiveness in terms of recognising that we this committee. And in fact, I think it's a point I was speaking. Understanding the remedy, understanding appropriate, generous gesture. That wasn't the case with these. I just would want remedies and being proactive.
I was wondering, obviously, we're trying to be proactive.
So the complaints procedure itself is quite resource intensive, but inevitably, the stage 2 process should be just a review of the stage 1. Improvements to be made then about. I think during lockdown we had training. So those are resource intensive, but they, insofar then as whether anything causes further litigation, we've been in the position where it is, as far as I'm aware. So really where we've been is just working. Clearly in the year where we had 17. But, you know, I think every response is to explore out.
Thank you, Sean. Probably answered a bit of this already, I think, but looking at the appendix to go on to that. Supporting the complaint and the service improvement, the Ombudsman talks about how it is being increasingly concerned about the evidence of the erosion of effective complaint. That's been exacerbated by the COVID-19. So do you think we're in a position now whereby we could counter anything that he is saying in that report, where the problems have been amplified? So in other words, that those poor local complaint handling practice he has seen, they have seen, and the investigations, are we in a position now where you think, as I say, that statement can in fact be countered by this?
As a committee, I can give you assurance that we've trained the right pool of people. I think that experience of practice yet. I would have confidence. But I would caveat that by saying, since quite new, since it's quite recent, since things to learn as we go forward. But I do feel that we wouldn't be. I do strongly feel we wouldn't be in the list of.
Just building up a little bit more said to in your get complaints. Causes of why we moving the process, and we look at improvement of that. Do we have that?
Yes, we do have that culture already, and learning. Will be truth. We have very specific. Learning from complaints.
Offensive. Given advice. But we just kept quiet. There are lessons. Right, thank you very much for that. We're on to. Oh, we just no, there's 7 complaints made under the members.
Sorry, Chair, just to update the committee, there was a previous agenda item, so straightforward, we whipped through it, which was any complaints, LGO complaints in this since we last met. There haven't been any. So, yeah, so this is complaints made under the members where the limited scope. It's just to note that since the last.
Chair, no, it's just to say the registers are here at the back of the room if anybody would expect them at the end of the meeting.
They're there for inspection. Are there is anybody missing from the list? We've got a full slate and it's all over there. It's not like the MPs list. Right, on that basis, Sean, is there anything? In that case, ladies and gentlemen, there being no notification of other business unless. Oh, sorry.
Chris, induction courses. Obviously, you know, very a lot of different holding them, and we'll review. I presume there will be a full schedule.
Some colleagues in the room have probably been to more allotment meetings. What I would say with confidence is that having viewing procedures and committee, we would absolutely want to baseline. I would imagine for some members, they were quite sure that bearing in mind
I will take any other business. None.